I'm sorry.
Teyonah's good.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, coming from St. Louis and being told I was technically black a lot of times, like I just really like how you took care of, like every single character had a lot of development and it was amazing. And Lionel, like I could feel that character. And I was just wondering, like, was that from like anything that you had experienced yourself or anyone that you knew closely, or like it was perfect. So.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I got that. I got the you talk white thing, you know. It's fun because I grew up in an all-black neighborhood in Houston. It's called Wassalet Park, and we were sort of like third ward adjacent. and my family was Creole, so like, you know, Creole people look like all kind of people, you know, like some people in my family look black, you know, look like you would expect a black person to look, and some of them, like my mom, for instance, like people walk up to my mom and just start speaking Spanish to her because they don't know what she is. So my just self-image of being a black person was already different from the other black kids, say, at my school. And I was part of the magnet program, so I found myself in schools that were predominantly white, but had other ethnic groups there too. And so yeah, I would, you know, I'd be too black for the school, but then too white for my neighborhood. And that was just sort of my black experience from jump. So, and you just add, you know, gay to the mix, and it's just a whole situation of trying to, you know, toggle your way into a proper niche. So yeah, I mean, that was definitely informed by my experiences. You want to say something? Keep looking at Teyonah.
We'll ask another question.
Over here.
Somebody asked Teyonah.
I heard you want to say over here. The person who said that screamed.
Being mixed, I like seeing, or you don't really see a lot of like biracial characters. So I was wondering why you decided to make a biracial lead in the movie.
So she wanted to know why I made a biracial lead in the movie, and you know, for me, I really, because I do see the movie as being shared by the four characters in terms of the narrative, I just wanted to hit as many angles as I thought I could get away with, really, within the confines of a narrative like this. And Sam really emerged from my subconscious, kind of like all of them. I mean, all of the characters were vaguely based on people, but they really came out of my subconscious. And the first draft of the screenplay had 7 or 8 lead characters, and I was very ambitious then as a, you know, senior in college. You know, I was going to be the next Robert Altman, so I had like a 3-hour version of this movie with 8 characters just ready to go. And as I kind of whittled them down and focused in on what I was, you know, trying to say about this thing of identity versus self, those were the 4 characters that just spoke the loudest to me. And I thought Sam's journey about being biracial, which oftentimes when you see like a light-skinned black woman in a movie, her sort of like heritage is never really addressed, or they just sort of cast 2 similarly light-skinned black people. Or
The Dorothy Dandridge thing.
Exactly, because that's just too much for an American audience to deal with, I guess. But with the exception of Beyond the Lights, by the way, coming out soon, by Cheetah Prince Blackwood. Very excited about that movie. But anyway, so it was a character and a way into that journey that I didn't see very often. And honestly, like, you know, I think she was flavored by some of my mother's experiences of being so light-skinned that she sort of didn't fit in to, you know, this group of black people, but white people knew she was black, so she really didn't fit in there, and this pressure that she felt to choose a side. I think all of that just sort of, I don't know, it sort of felt, it fed into who Sam eventually became.
And of course, in our society, black folks always choose that side for you. And 2 strong women characters. Talk a little bit about that, the fact that you are one of 2 of these sort of powerful women characters who are exploring their sexuality and their femininity and their womanhood in the film, as well as all of these other subjects.
I think all 4, definitely being a woman and Justin doing such a great job, like someone said, just making sure everybody had a story and an arc and nobody was one shade of anything, that we all were so complex and so layered. But for all 4 of the characters, that's really what was exciting to me, is that we have a movie with such complex characters that is being led by 4 young people of color. And what are we saying? And that we have an opinion, and we're, you might not agree with it, but we're saying it and we're out here. And just to see, well, now to see, but to be a part of a film that takes that on. It's like, yes, as Black people, we're all very different, all of us, and we all have something different to say. We all come from different places, and you can't just put it all in one box, any of us. So I was really excited and intrigued by working on something like that.
Easy for you, so you got good hair.
Listen, that.
I was hoping no one would notice.
Yeah, she's posed the Tyler Perry question, so.
In all caps.
Yeah.
Trademarked.
No.
Tyler Perry question. No, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I mean, you know, one thing I'll point out is that Tyler Perry is both sort of taken to task and defended in the film by the same character, actually. And to me, that told the truth about the kind of conversations that Black people have, you know, mostly about representation and complexity of characters. And actually, you know, I as a filmmaker, you know, I actually really appreciate the fact that I live in a world where a Black man can buy an island off of his films. I mean, true talk, like, Tyler Perry is not sort of like even the issue to me. The issue is the fact that for a while, and we've gotten better, especially since I've written the film, but no, not because I've written the film, I'm sorry. Not because just, it was coincidence, y'all, come on. But since like 2005, for instance, when I started writing the film, what happened is Tyler Perry got really successful and Hollywood does what it knows how to do, which is to replicate that success. And because the industry is myopic, because it has to be for the economics of it to function, somehow as a whole it decided that Tyler Perry was the whole of the Black audience, and that this man who had very effectively found a way to speak to a segment of the Black audience, you know, was misconstrued for speaking for the entire Black audience. So what happened is that people who didn't necessarily relate to those stories, that's all we were getting for a while. And even now that, you know, there are different Black stories in the marketplace, we're still kind of in a kind of dichotomy of Black films, where you sort of get, you know, the hyper-genre Black film, where you get the tragic awards, you know, slavery Black film, and there are great films that come out of both of those models, but the stuff in the middle, the art house stuff, the stuff where we're complicated and messy and human, like that stuff is harder to get through the gate. And that's not really Tyler Perry's fault, you know, it's a bigger issue that's above Tyler Perry. But I also felt like to do a movie like this that's aware that it's a movie and is you know, having Black people have conversations about identity that's informed by the media around them, for them not to talk about Tyler Perry, to me, would have been stranger. Because he's like that conversation, I mean, you can't tell me that conversation has not happened around you. I mean, that conversation always comes up, you know? Tyler Perry and Michael Jackson are the things I feel like, as a Black person, like I'm constantly talking about. So, you know, I don't know, I felt like it was funny, and I think that it's something those characters would say, you know, I think, I don't know, I don't like the idea that any character in the movie is like my mouthpiece per se, like I don't think that, I don't agree with everything that Sam and her crew say, but I don't know, I thought that scene was necessary for this.
Well, ability of the artist to speak. More than 25 years ago, when Spike Lee's School Days was released, the conversation in the black community is why is Spike ratting us out? Telling white folks about our issues with our hair and our skin color and things like that. But as an artist, he needs to speak. So there's that issue.
And there's also, we've been having that conversation. I'm going to say something really pretentious, but it's the truth. We've been having that conversation since the Harlem Renaissance, of like, should we create work that sort of, betters the race and sort of portrays the race in a certain way?
James Baldwin versus Zora Neale Hurston.
Exactly. Or should we air the dirty laundry? And should we like tell the truth of our experiences and allow people to see themselves for the first time in the art and allow others who have no sense of that experience to see that we are human beings that are just as complicated, having the same experience that they're having. And I get both sides of it, and for me, the intention of this film was to tell the truth. And it sometimes is a dirty, complicated truth. And I, just as a storyteller and as a film goer, I'm more interested in that.
Right in the middle, right there.
I'm from Houston too, just want to let you know, man.
H-Town.
I just want to know the interracial dynamic that you had going. I just want to know, is that something that you wanted to push? Because I noticed she used the white dude as a booty call at first.
The question is about the jungle fever in the film, which I think is interesting in and of itself.
Rampant jungle fever.
Yeah, but then she fell in love at the end with the white dude. And she kind of dropped off the stronger black character. I want to know, is that something that you wanted to push out there?
No, he's asking if that's something I want to push. No.
Was that something that you wanted to, just try?
I wanted to give all of my characters a tough decision to make. And I wanted her to have to pick between what in her head was the right race or the man that saw her better. And I didn't want that decision to be easy for her, and so I made it really difficult. and I also think that in this generation, like, we're dating each other now. It's not sort of like jungle
babies and everything.
We have
Some of them had a
babies.
president. There was a president.
But these are the things that come up sometimes in interracial relationships. So like, is this like because we're just super curious? Is it because you're fetishizing me? I feel like all different aspects of interracial dating, was handled in the film. And I think, I don't know, I think it's, I wouldn't want someone to walk away from my film in any way feeling like the film is telling them like what is always right and what is always wrong. I think that even with the way she holds his hand and sort of walks by her former posse, like that relationship is low-key not going to be the smoothest, after the events in the film. So I think that they all kind of land in complicated places, and it's not my intention to co-sign really any of their decisions like as the filmmaker, except to say that I think that we're probably in a better place when we're making decisions that are more authentic to what we truly want, as opposed to what the people around us expect.
The film is good. People.